Welcome back, folks, to the Short Vol Show. Welcome. It's been another hectic day in the markets right now. Major indices are back towards unchanged, actually. E-minis down 75 cents right now. Let's pull up a chart here and take a look. So here we have it. And stuff has just been sort of gyrating back and forth today. We had a big sell-off yesterday, which erased all the gains of Monday. People kind of thought that Monday, it's all over and everything rallied back and everything's great now, and we'll be back on the rally. And that just really proved not to be the case because we gave up everything we had gained yesterday. Now, all day today, the Russell, the IWM, has been in positive territory, but the NASDAQ just getting pulled down again and again here. And NASDAQ, as is often the case in the markets, NASDAQ appears to be really kind of directing the flow of stuff, and we've gotten pulled down by the NASDAQ once again, it seems like. But the question today really is the rally failing or is the sell-off failing? Because we try to rally, it doesn't work, obviously, but we've also kind of tried to sell off and it doesn't work. If you look at the chart here, this is kind of tells you the story of what's going on, which is essentially we are just in a range today, and it's been kind of whipping around. It's been very whippy, actually. And as far as the term structure, we have seen the back months finally moving up the last 2 days. If we looked at October and November in the term structure for the VIX, those are the back months, and even with the big move on February, they didn't get out of the 18s in the VIX. So let's go to have a little look at the term structure right now. I appreciate everybody who came and checked me out on LaSalle's show last night. Thanks for checking me out there. I was just kind of getting into some basics about the term structure and the VIX. If you were at that and you're following me to here, this is a little bit more for people that have followed it for maybe a bit longer. And I'm getting feedback here, so let me get rid of that. Okay, so here's the term structure, and we see spot above all the futures, and we see the first 2 months in backwardation. That's been the same for a couple days now of 5%. So pressure to the upside here. But the interesting thing is this whole chart has sort of shifted up. Let me show you this site that I like to check out, barchart.com. And you can see here that these back month futures keeping pace or outpacing some of the near months here. So this October, if you look at some of the volume figures here, you can see that the most volume is in the April future, and April and May are the biggest by far, and then smaller volume as we move out here. But it really drops off after October. But if we do look at October here, up 47 cents to 1982, that got to almost 20 earlier today. And that is really what we want to see. We want to get these back months up, up, up. That way, when vol backs off a little bit, we will be in a steeper slope. So here we have a spot once again. Now, we were having a little discussion last night about what this all means, and the futures obviously are talking about where we see things in the future. And when we're in backwardation, generally when we're in contango, farther out months have a higher VIX, and that sort of makes intuitive sense, right? If if you have a time period of between now and a month from now versus a period of between now and 3 months from now, it would usually make sense that a 3 month period has more of a chance for something to go wrong or for some big move to happen than just 1 month does. So usually the curve slopes upward. When you have a situation where the slope is downward, that means that now there is more vol than it is anticipated to be moving forward. So when you have a curve like today, this is telling us that the expectation is that vol will move down between now and 30 days, 60 days, 80 days. So although this term structure does not provide pressure to the downside as far as decay for people that are long these ETFs like TVIX and UVXY, it does indicate that vol is moving lower, should move lower in the future. So not great evidence to be long it here for an extended period of time. It seems like there's almost never evidence for you to be long vol for an extended period of time. But the VIX up a lot today compared with what's happening in the E-mini. So if we go back to our chart here, we can see E-minis down 5, VIX now up a point. It was up almost 2 points with the E-minis unched before. So vol really indicating that it's here to stay for a while. I was watching, check out Andrew G. and Option Pit coverage. I was listening to what he was saying this morning, and I do agree that, vol looking to make a home up here in the 20s for a little while, or at least in the high teens for a while now, and the back months starting to switch up to reflect that. Now, even if we get a rally of a day now, people's memory, which is usually pretty short, but is long enough to realize, well, that may not last. So the market whipping around, either whipping to the downside or the upside, may not last right now. So this very whippy activity that we saw from the open, does that indicate a bottom in the market? I don't know. We'll have to see. My discussion yesterday, I was sort of proven completely wrong because, when I came on, VIX was down, and we seemed to be heading in the down direction as far as volatility. But pretty much as soon as I got off the air, the market kind of, how should I put, what's the technical term? Shit the bed, and vol went back up. So it remains to be seen what will happen today. So now everything mixed. The Dow up 72, NASDAQ futures down 60, ES down 2. But we've seen recently that NASDAQ can go up pretty quickly, but also can go down really quickly. We saw it drop 50 points a couple times in a matter of just a couple minutes. So stuff whipping around. The realized volatility is higher right now. And the question is, how long does this last? A lot of people pointing, well, earnings are coming out in a couple weeks, so can earnings save us? And the answer is we don't know. And people don't like to give that answer. They like to make a guess and sort of hope that they'll be right, and then they can point back later and say, "Ha, see, I was right." But people who have been around long enough know that the answer is we just don't know. The positives that I can take away from this market for short vol people are that the term structure is the back months are moving up. So it's not like the back months are way, way, way lower than everything else. So that is a positive for me as far as volatility. Let's go back to the term structure again. I want to compare where we are now to where we were around February 7th. So here's the structure. I'm going to go into historical prices here for a second, and I'm going to pull up the most recent. So we've got 2018. So if we pull out to yesterday, and we're going to see the back months around, let's see, I'm only going to go to OC right now because that seems to be the end of liquid products. But anyways, October around 1935. So if we back up to February 5th and check out the period right after that, okay. So before, that week before the big spike, we had the back months up around 1590s. Okay, then we get the big spike on the 5th, and well, let's see. Okay, so that's August. September, October. So October was the last month at this time, and October got to 1897. Okay, so that was the day of the spike. Okay, next day, and we see back months fading pretty quickly. So back months down to, okay, let's see, February 8th, 1890. That's interesting. So it has been bouncing from 18s up towards 19. And then as time goes by, the back months start to come down. Even though we're still in backwardation here, back months coming down to high 17s, low 18s, and sort of stays there. So low 18s, and it wasn't really until all of March so far staying at low 18s, and it wasn't really until this last week where we've seen actually yesterday we got above 19, and today once again up over 19 and a half. So I think this is significant that the back months are up here, and I think that that is good long term because we want to get the back end of the graph up. That way it makes the front end, it's easier for us to get into contango on the way down again if the back months are up. So I think that's positive. We're going to have to see where the market goes, whether the momentum to the downside kind of ends here and we just kind of bounce around, or do we dump again towards the close and accelerate to the downside again? From what I see in this kind of sideways action here, it seems like rallies are stalling out, but sell-offs are stalling out too. Ever since February 5th, we've been in that spot where everybody was thinking, oh, well, will it break the February 5th, where the market went down to on February 5th? You know, if it breaks that level, then we've got problems. And everybody's been focused on that. And, well, surprisingly enough, it did go to that level. And we did break through it. And now we're kind of hanging around somewhere around there right now. And so the question is, do we move lower? Does the market find support here? And I think, I don't know, I've always had this theory that every week a lot of people's paychecks, part of their paycheck is invested in their 401k. And so you've got a steady inflow of money into the markets every week from all these people. And so it takes a lot to counteract that. You need a steady source of selling to counteract that and make the market go lower. And I just don't see a steady source of selling continuing for too long. But, you know, maybe that's just sort of armchair, sort of amateur theory on the way these things work, and I'm sure somebody can correct me on that. But as we see right now, VIX 23.5 up about a point. Futures, we like to see the back months up about 35 cents, front month up 60 cents, and UVXY up 50 cents right now. The VXX over 50 now significantly. SVXY 1130. VMIN 260. So are we in a holding pattern? Pretty much anything except us continuing the sell-off to the downside will bring vol in. But the trend right now is down, and until that trend gets broken and we stop the sell-off, the trend will continue to be down. So we'll keep monitoring the situation closely. Um, and that's my analysis from here. I like what would I like to happen as far as the term structure? I would like to see those back months up. I would like to see the back months up to like 21. Get them up. Get them up to 25 even. Just get those back months really up so that even when with the VIX at say 23, we're still in contango. That would be awesome because if we could have these products decaying even with vol very high, then we'd actually be heading in the right direction. So it's healthy that the term structure is moving up. It wants to get into contango. It just needs the chance of things settling down for a little while for it to get there, and that's just not happening in the current environment. So we'll see what happens. Market sort of in a range today, and that's where we stand. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.